thank you so much for staying with Facing the Nation. Welcome to the second half of our program. Interesting conversation in the first half, but we'll talk about that a little more later on in the wrap-up segment of our program. The second half, I did promise you, Professor Ivelaw Griffith has become, and I'm happy to say that, has become a steady feature on Facing the Nation. The reason I'm happy about this, because this is the first time this is happening since I've been alive, this is the first time that we're getting so much information on what is happening at the University of Guyana in terms of development and so on. So gone are the days when, we only hear about UG either at graduation time when we have so many students graduating, or when someone decides to protest, when the lecturers don't teach. So University of Guyana is getting publicity now for positive things and development, and I am so happy and I'm so embracing the fact that he has committed to coming on Facing the Nation very often as he possibly can, to give us updates. Professor Griffith, welcome back. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you. Always glad to be here.
All right, great. What is happening with University of Guyana in terms of what is new since we last spoke? And I read a few articles in terms of what's happening. I think one of the things you talk about was improving research qualities, and then there's the issue about benefits, or I should say development for staff. Let's talk about what's going on.
Well, there are lots of things that are going on. And today, this afternoon at 5 p.m. is a signal part of what's going on. What's going on as part of building to the future. Today at 5 p.m. at Duke Lodge, we're having the launching cocktail reception for the School of Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation. It's a way of saying to the community, public community, academic community, business community, we're in business. And it's a short event, short formal program. Ambassador of Mexico, who's one of our great supporters, will be helping us on the Spanish language aspects of business education. Tricia Bacchus, chairman of Go Invest and CEO of Caribbean Container Inc., president of the Berbice Chamber of Commerce, along with Mr. Jerry Gouveia from the Private Sector Commission, will be giving some remarks. You'll also see the unfurling of the SEBI banner. Symbolic part of it.
That was quick.
Yes, we've got, I mentioned very often that we have a fierce urgency of now. We've got to do things because we're playing a lot of catching up.
Yes.
Catching up not only in the context of Guyana, but catching up in the context of the world. So feel free to come by this afternoon. All your viewers, if they're seeing this before 5, come down to Duke Lodge. Get some Guyanese champagne called coconut water.
Yeah, we love that.
We're also going to preview a show for the first time, a video.
Okay.
On SEBI. One of the things that we've got to do in the university, and we've begun to do it, is to get more connected in the virtual world. Okay. Facebook, we've got a new website. If you haven't had a chance to go visit, go visit. Mm-hmm. We'll be doing a video on UG, but we thought with the advent of SEBI, let's do a video on SEBI. I'm not going to tell you what's in the video. I'll tell you how long it is, about 6 minutes. But
definitely means I have to come today. Yeah.
So lots of things happening, and one of the exciting things is the official launch of SEBI this afternoon.
Okay. All right, great. Well, we certainly look forward to that. The last time you were here, you talked about a number of fundraisers and so on, both locally and internationally. How have those gone? How many have completed and so on, in terms of what you've been able to grasp from them for developing UG?
We had a couple of wonderful combinations of what I call the 3 Fs. Fun, friend, and funds. We had Race for Pace, which was an event of go-kart racing. We raised $4.19 million. That is for a new student support fund. You may recall earlier this year we had a fire in Cummings Lodge.
Yes.
I was in Grenada at the time. And when I got the message, I said, well, how many of our students are affected? They did not know at the time how many staff were affected, or students. So I said, we've got to find a way to support those students and staff. I thought we had a welfare fund at the university. We did not. So I used funds I had been raising privately for the Vice Chancellor's Fund for Strategic Initiatives. I used that to give $100,000 each to the 12 students who were burnt out and the 2 staff. That led us to recognize that we've got to have a permanent fund to support student welfare. tuition, and other exigencies. So Professor Paloma Mohammed, who was in charge of philanthropy, alumni, and civic engagement, had a wonderful idea of why don't we raise funds and have some fun at the same time.
Okay.
And that go-kart is going to be an annual event. The race was actually in May, but then we had a ceremony in June to give out the awards. That was signally important. On the international side, I have a group in New York, New Jersey, a support group. They're planning the first annual gala to support UG in New York. They have the date, is September 9th. They have the place, it's Anton's in Queens. So those of us who are in the diaspora, living New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, you're going to get the announcement soon in a variety of ways. Would love to see the support for that alumni and friends effort to raise funds for the university.
Raise funds, okay, great. You know, I always, every time you come on this program, I always have to ask what are responses like, what is support like, because again, Vice Chancellor Griffith is a difference, and this is not me just saying it, it's a fact. He brought a difference in terms of developing University of Guyana and so on, and I know people are often threatened by the newness. I think it's called fear of the unknown, xenophobia. People are always threatened by that. How are you coming along with getting people on your side in sense of getting them to understand that what you're doing is for the benefit of not only the students at UG but the staff in general? How do those respond? Especially since this triple F, the fun, friends, and funds. So how is that?
The reality is quite rightly said that change often engenders resistance because of the unknown. Mm-hmm. I expect the same thing at University of Guyana. But I know that once people begin to see the value of the change and the interest of the change in the students and the staff and the nation as a whole, they'll embrace it more. There is a small pocket of resistance, which is understandable. But I think the overwhelming response, both on and off campus, has been positive. And I would invite viewers, listeners, ask people whether they've begun to see change in practical sense. On campus, the relationship we're building off campus is also a significant one in that respect. A couple of weeks ago, I did a trip. I started in the Bahamas, then I went to Texas, then I went to China. All three of those trips are going to be having payoffs in significant ways. As a matter of fact, I went to Texas to do the inaugural keynote speech for a group of Guyanese called the Guyanese Association of Greater Houston. You would not believe the professionals in Houston, Guyanese, engineers, businessmen, doctors, lawyers, nurses. They want to begin to help rebuild this university. As a matter of fact, some of them will be coming to the conference in a couple of weeks. The part in the Nassau that was perhaps the most successful was my initial meeting with the gentleman who heads institute, but they call it a Center for Food Security at Cave Hill. And he's agreed to be part of the effort we're going to be starting this coming year to establish an institute for food and nutrition security. There's a very distinguished Guyanese chemist who's in Florida. Will be coming to spend her sabbatical with us, and I've asked her to lead that effort. So some of the things that are done don't have immediate payoff, but they set the stage for eventual. And one of the very good sidebars at that Houston was there are some Guyanese who live not only in Texas, but have got relationships with Louisiana. Louisiana State University, is one of the fantastic, not only land-grant universities, but big in energy, oil. Louisiana as a state is one of the largest producers of oil in the United States. So the director of international programs drove down from Baton Rouge to meet me in Houston to begin the conversation about how LSU might help, how might they partner. And I'm hoping that at the conference in 2 weeks, not only will a couple of people from the Guyanese Association come, but at least one person from LSU will come. How can we begin to set the stage for meaningful partnerships with the university?
And I want to come back to SEBI and the event a little later, but before you come back to that, one of the things that you said, the first conversation we ever had on this program, you talked about, and I know it means a lot to you, about branding the University of Guyana. how is that thus far fitting into all that you've been doing?
Branding is a combination of marketing, imaging, merchandising, and actually doing things different that will be consonant with the brand. And so branding is as much a process as it is an event. When you come this afternoon to the SEBI launch, you'll see a new logo for SEBI. Mm-hmm. That is part of the branding effort. When you come to the conference in 2 weeks, part of which will be at Ramada Princess, part of which will be at the university, you'll see merchandise, new UG merchandise as part of the branding. The new website that we have is part of the branding. So it's a combination of things packaged but delivered over time. And I'm hoping that, as is the case with every university and other kinds of organizations, central to the brand is people wanting to be part of the branding. So when we sell you a polo shirt for UG, feel proud in wearing it. When you buy or you're given a UG hat, when you're given or you buy a UG mug, we'll have mugs and other things at the conference. People are part of the branding.
Understood. SEBI, coming back to SEBI. After this afternoon's launch, logo and everything, and the video that I'm excited to see, what would be next, the next step for SEBI, especially the young people out there who can't wait to become a part of this, potential entrepreneurs and so on?
Well, the launch is only part of a longer implementation process that started right after the council decided, gave us the authority to go ahead. And so there's a team headed by Deputy Vice Chancellor Barbara Reynolds, working on very many curriculum, registrar, admissions components. There are a lot of behind-the-scenes work that need to do with the courses that will be aligned. There are lots of conversations happening. I saw an email this morning to Professor Lucas, who is here, from the Public Hospital Georgetown, because one of the things we'll be doing is offering customer service for the medical professions. One businessman, one medical doctor approached us, and we're going to start with him as a pilot. But once the word got out about that set of short courses, others. So we're in the preparation stage. What we know we're going to be doing is not only offering degree programs, and there are some new degrees, supply chain management, finance, accountancy, entrepreneurship, but we're also setting the stage to deliver some short courses. This means that, among other things, we've got to begin to identify the lecturers, not only in Guyana, but also internationally. So we'll be taking to the appropriate committees of the university the potential list of new lecturers. Some are practitioners. You know, this enterprise we launch on is not just going to be about theory. We want people with a practical. So some of who will be a part of the faculty teaching courses, whether short courses or modules of degree programs, will have to come from outside, will have to come from the non-traditional academic. All those are stage setting happening along the way, so that when classes begin in August, end of August, or classes begin in September or October for the short courses, we'll have a fair degree.
So you will actually be able to begin those classes for the next semester?
Oh yes.
Wow, that's
but keep in mind, as we explained, the SEBI degree curricula are 2 years of general education, your English, your math, your the thing you like, your economics.
That I don't like.
Before we get to the upper division courses. But we'll be offering those short courses from this coming semester.
Great. And I know potential business persons will certainly appreciate that.
Oh yes.
Professor, there is a question. I think I want to close by asking you the same question that I asked Minister Ali in terms of what's going on and advice to our young people and people who seem to be losing faith. But even before I do that, I always like to give you an opportunity, because you know more than I do when it comes to what is happening in Juji. Have we missed anything in terms of updates? Because I did tell the viewers that this is a regular feature, giving updates from the University of Guyana.
There is not enough time to talk about all the things that are happening at the University of Guyana. But let me just mention two.
Sure.
One of the things that is a legitimate source of frustration of students and staff is the facilities. So when you come back to semester one, you're going to find the GWLT air conditioned. You're going to find either small lecture theater fully air conditioned or work begun on it. You're going to find delayed, but I'm hoping that construction will begin on the student complex. We're making a lot of, in some cases slower than I would like, progress on the facilities. That is an important part of enabling students to have, and lecturers to have a better quality of the environment in which to deliver the educational product. We're also doing some build out for the Faculty of Agriculture and Forestry. But I want to end on the second, what's happening in 2 weeks' time. We've got a historic conference, Diaspora Engagement. It's a week-long event, set of events, beginning on Sunday the 23rd of July. His Excellency President Granger is hosting a welcome reception that Sunday. And then the Monday, we have the President giving the keynote to declare the conference open. The conference is itself 2 days of speeches, panel discussions, workshops. Some of the keynote speakers are going to be the chairman of LaParcan. There's an MP, a Guyanese-born member of Parliament from the British House of Commons, David Lammy. He's coming to give one of the keynotes. Chief Whip for the opposition, Honorable Gail Teixeira, is one of the speakers. But we also have smaller, more interactive sessions called ministerial roundtables. We've got a number of government ministers and businessmen who will be talking about issues related to the diaspora, Guyana Connect. How do you do business? How do you facilitate the return home and the relationship? But those are only the first 2 days of actual conversations. The Wednesday, we're dedicating the morning only the University of Guyana ambassadors. There are a number of ambassadors I've appointed since last year, June. And we had a first meeting last year, June. Many of them are coming back. Some of the new ones are coming. Some of them are overseas. Some are in Guyana. And we're going to spend our 4 hours on the campus asking, what's happened since last year? What more do we need to do to build the university forward? But Thursday is an exciting day of a different flavor. I don't know how many places outside of Georgetown you visited, but there's so many Guyanese at home and abroad who have not really enjoyed the beauty of the country. So Thursday is a Know Your Country Day. We've got 10 different places we can go to.
In the one day?
In the one day. They're all day trips. You can just select.
Okay.
It's a matter of choices.
Choices, understood.
Iwakrama, Sorama. Have you been to the Pandama winery?
Yes, I did.
That's on the list. Linden first and then Pandama. The Mangrove, Arrow Point. There is a walking tour of Georgetown. So that day is learn about Guyana, but if you also want to give back practical, you have opportunity for nurses and doctors, businessmen. And then the Friday, it ends with 2 signally important events. The investiture of the 10th Vice Chancellor. First time we're having a ceremony, which is normal in every university, but we've never done it.
We've never done it.
I came back from China to find and acknowledge a receipt of my invitation from the President of the Caribbean Development Bank. He'll be coming, he'll be giving remarks. University of West Indies Vice Chancellor, Senator Beckles, will be coming, giving remarks. We've got a number of other high level. The President will also be speaking at the investiture. And then we end the night with a grand cultural extravaganza. All the various cultural nuances of Guyana will be showcased. Indian, African mix, indigenous people. Keith Waith, who is one of our distinguished musicians in the diaspora, now resident in London, will be coming, serving again as distinguished artist in residence at the university, doing lectures, holding workshops, but also organizing. And we were excited about the cultural extravaganza. As a matter of fact, at an event last night, Selwyn Collins, a minister friend of mine, was saying, I'm looking to see which one of these pieces of outfit I'll buy to wear with your cultural
Beautiful. That is very good. That is a good thing, good influence. You've said all of that, and I'm happy that you outline each day, but for those who may have missed it or slipped, what is the holistic goal of this conference that's happening in 2 weeks?
The holistic goal is to enable homeland and diaspora to connect in a way in which they can build forward. I've said it maybe more than once in this program, that we can't build the University of Guyana as we should without a diaspora. Guyana needs a diaspora in a variety of ways. So, given the fact that we are a nation with lots of issues, racial, political, I want to have the university to be that neutral space that will say to people in the diaspora, and the people who are coming are not all academics. You have businessmen coming, you have medical doctors, you have psychologists, you have people who are in the consultancy world for a variety of areas. University of Guyana is setting itself as the stage to be that enabler of supplementing what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is doing, enabling the diaspora to learn and to give back. And we're going to be establishing a Center for Diaspora Engagement to be the kind of permanent body that hosts the conference going forward, that organizes research projects, that facilitates people want to give back. So many thousands of Guyanese abroad. I don't know that there's a repository of who they are, what skills they have, how might they give back. One of the things we're going to do in that Center for Diaspora Engagement is to establish and manage a talent data bank where we can know who wants to give back, how they want it, and have them feel comfortable not having to go to a ministry. Because the reality is, many people don't want to work with a government ministry, irrespective of what political party it is.
Yes.
So that is a practical reality. If we don't face it, we can't fix it.
Professor Griffith, it's always a pleasure. But again, unfortunately, sad note before I let you go. As the Vice Chancellor of the highest learning institution in the country, I know you hold education, the need for education in order to develop any nation. You would hold that sort of policy close to your heart. Unfortunately, we saw crime is not new to Guyana. This is not the first time, but the first incident on Tuesday shocked the nation because a young man was killed while attempting to rob a bank, and the fact is this was a fully qualified young man from the reports out there. And then yesterday, or I think it was the day before yesterday, we had a report where a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old murdered an adult. I am not saying murder between adults or it's acceptable. I'm not saying that it's acceptable, but it's shocking when you have a 14-year-old killing an adult. What would you want to say at this time to our society, children, parents, teachers, people in your position, other academics and so on, other professionals? What would you want to say to them at this time as Guyanese?
Let me begin my response by reminding us of something that one of my favorite philosophers, Jorge Santayana, said, if you really want to know what people think, don't pay regard to what they say only, pay regard to what they do. We have got to become willing not only to say, but to do things to change that value reflection. We've got to do things differently in the schools to teach respect and self-respect. We've got to do things differently in the homes, even if it's a single-parent home. We've got to find ways to enable whomever are in our charge to know that there are boundaries beyond which you shouldn't go. And so much of it needs to be done in the religious centers. Almost every block you turn in our beautiful Region 4, you find a church, a mandir, a mosque. Those religious institutions have an obligation. It is not only the laws that you write. There is a role for laws, there's a role for government. What I'm saying then, we've got to embrace holistically the doing by the various constituent elements in the society. School, family, church. Letting people know that there are sanctions for doing things that are not appropriate. Taking the ownership and not blaming the teacher in the school. So many times I hear parents blaming the teachers. What are the parents doing? Not only what we say, but what we do. And part of what we do is going to be consequential in a negative way for people who breach whatever the value system or the law is. And so we've got to be prepared to have sanctions along with education, along with values that are embraced. I see one of the greatest value erosions in respect in how people drive in the streets.
Yes.
So if individually we don't each take responsibility for that value of respect and express that respect value in how we conduct ourselves when we're driving? Or what do we encourage the minibus driver to not do? How might we not request the music with the lurid lyrics? The ownership is on us. Remember what Julius Caesar said, Shakespeare said? Fall there, Brutus lies not in the stars, but in thine eyes. I often say, either pick Shakespeare or Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror.
Yes, that's a nice strategy to remember the importance of moral and ethics and values and so on in society. Professor Griffith, thank you so much.
Thank you. So look forward to seeing you this afternoon.
Yes, I will be. And you see, viewers, you reminded me on air, so I have no excuse. I have to go and the
come drink some Guyana champagne.
Yes, I will be there. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, unfortunately, you've missed another very informative conversation with the Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Ivelaw Griffith. But of course, as usual, he will be back. He will be back, yes, way before we get closer to the end of the year. And again, I did say at the beginning of this conversation that I embrace these sorts of updates coming from our the highest learning institution in our beautiful Republic of Guyana. This is Facing the Nation. We'll take a very quick break, and when we come back, it will be just time to do a few housekeeping matters, and then we'll have to wrap up today's program. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Well, after those two very substantive conversations today, there's nothing much more that I can say, and I don't think there's much you want to hear from me for the few minutes that we have, the minute or so that we have left in today's program. I just want to take the opportunity to thank both of today's guests, the Honorable Minister of Social Protection. Of course, our conversation with her today came because of the fact that she has been recently appointed to the post of General Secretary of the People's National Congress Reform. I always like to remind you that it actually is necessary coming from a political standpoint. The People's National Congress Reform is the largest political party in the APNU-AFC coalition government. So I'd like to thank her for that. Also, thank you very much to UG Vice Chancellor, Professor Ivelaw Griffith, for coming and sharing with us what's happening at the University of Guyana in terms of development. Again, we appreciate that very much because this too is new for our country. No longer will we only be hearing about University of Guyana when there is a large amount of, or when there are a large amount of students graduating close to the end of the year, or when something goes wrong and people are protesting, whether it be salaries or conditions on the campus and so on. Now we are getting constant updates, and Professor Griffith has already proven that we as a people who are interested in our highest learning institution can hold him accountable, and in a sense, to use our language, hold his feet to the fire in terms of what's happening at UG, and he is not the one to hide. So we will be updated. Those of you who missed both of those conversations, you can go to my YouTube channel a little later on in the day, and so they'll also be posted to Facebook as I usually invite you to do. I am also grateful that both of them gave their thoughts on what we saw playing out this week. Both incidents would have shocked us somewhat. The attempted bank robbery, and then the 14-year-old, killing the adult who is thus far reportedly provoked him to that. I'm happy that both guests indeed had words of inspiration, upliftment in a sense for not only young people but for society. And on that note, I have to take my leave from today's program. I am Malika Ramsey. I always urge you to be good Guyanese citizens. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Join me again next week. This has been Facing the Nation.